Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. We like to get into all kinds of different topics on this show.
Oh, yeah, we do.
And today we are going to be talking about just one song.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, we've got this track, Healing from the Hurt, by azizi aethona.
Okay.
And with it, we've also got this article that gives us some background on the artist, and their message.
That's always helpful.
It is. And it's fascinating stuff. We're going to be talking about personal experiences, societal issues, and even the power of art. All in 20 minutes?
Sounds like a challenge.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Now, what really stood out to me in the article is how aethona tackles this concept of pathologization.
Yeah. The article defines it as framing transgender identities as mental health disorders.
So before reading the term pathologization, I have to admit, wasn't really on my radar. Is that something you come across a lot?
It's something that's more common than we might realize. Yeah. Instead of seeing trans identities as just a natural part of human diversity, right? This pathologization frames being trans as something inherently wrong or broken.
Oh, wow.
Requiring medical intervention to be fixed, which is a very...
Oh, you need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what aethona critiques in their music, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The article mentions how this view can make people in the trans community feel inadequate or they don't belong.
It can lead to this sense of shame, and feeling inadequate.
Wow.
And it can even prevent individuals from seeking help or support when they really need it.
That makes sense. If you already feel broken, why would you ask for help?
Exactly.
You'd just think, well, that's just me.
Yeah, and in fact, the article cites research that directly links this kind of stigmatization to increased mental health challenges.
Oh, wow. So it
makes you think, right?
Yeah.
How much of someone's struggle is due to who they are versus how society reacts to them.
That's a really good point.
It's not just about individual experience.
Right.
It's about how those experiences are shaped by the world around us.
It really makes you question how we as a society perceive and treat anything that falls outside of what's considered normal.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So we've got this heavy topic of pathologization, but then we have aethona's music,
Right.
which the article describes as expressing both the grief and resilience of the trans community.
It's this fascinating juxtaposition.
Yeah.
There's this one line in the article that I think really sums it up.
What is it?
It describes the track as a cathartic expression of grief and resilience, encapsulating the struggle to reconcile one's identity with external perceptions.
Wow. That's a mouthful.
It is.
But it really does perfectly describe that kind of push and pull aethona is conveying, right?
It acknowledges the pain and hurt caused by societal rejection. But it's also about reclaiming your narrative and finding strength in who you are.
And they're doing all of this through music.
Yes.
It's pretty incredible.
It is.
The article actually talks about art as this tool for both processing trauma and advocating for change.
Have you ever turned to music or writing or any kind of creative outlet to work through something difficult?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It can be so cathartic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what aethona is doing here on a much larger scale.
Yeah, yeah.
Using their art to not only express their own experiences, but to connect with others who might be going through something similar.
I feel like everyone has those go-to creative outlets that help them make sense of the world.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes just putting those feelings into a song or a painting or whatever can make a world of difference.
Definitely.
And that brings us to another really key theme from the article, the idea that healing is not this solo journey.
Right.
It's about community. Connection and finding support in those around you.
The article specifically says community as key to healing from the hurt inflicted by societal stigma.
aethona isn't just speaking to their own experience, but to a shared experience of so many in the trans community. And they're reminding us that we all need those support systems, those safe spaces where we can be ourselves without fear of judgment.
I totally get the importance of community.
Yeah.
But isn't there also a lot of value in solitude?
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes retreating and processing things on your own can be just as important as reaching out.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of something the article highlighted, that healing isn't linear.
Oh, that's so true.
There are going to be times when you need that support system to lift you up. And there are going to be times when you need to just step back and process things internally.
It's all part of the journey.
It is.
It's like that saying, 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Or even a little spin thrown in.
Yeah.
It's like a dance.
Ooh, I like that.
Sometimes you need your partner to lead. Sometimes you need to find your own rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just need that cheer squad on the sidelines to keep you going.
I love that. So we've got this beautiful, messy dance of healing, and community plays a huge part.
It does.
But it's not always straightforward.
Nope. And that's something aethona's music really captures. The complexities, the setbacks, the moments of joy amidst the struggle.
It makes you realize that progress in any area of life isn't always a straight line.
Yeah.
It's about embracing those twists and turns, the highs and the lows, and finding a way to keep moving forward.
Healing from the hurt serves as this powerful reminder that we don't have to do it alone.
I like that.
There's strength in sharing our stories, and connecting with others, and building a community that celebrates our shared humanity.
Speaking of shared humanity, the article mentions societal expectations.
Yeah.
And how they can be particularly challenging for people who are figuring out their gender identity.
Think about it. From the moment we're born, we're bombarded with messages about what it means to be a boy or a girl.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're given blue or pink blankets, encouraged to play with certain toys, and told how to dress, act, and even feel.
It's like we're all handed this script at birth and we're expected to follow it perfectly.
Yeah, and for many people, that script fits.
Mm.
But for trans individuals, it can feel like wearing clothes that are several sizes too small.
Oh, I get that. Uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable, constricting.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow for authentic self-expression.
It's like being told you have to play a certain role in the play of life, even if it doesn't resonate with who you truly are.
Exactly. And those societal pressures can be incredibly difficult to navigate.
Yeah, especially when you're already trying to figure out your own identity.
Absolutely. It makes you think about how much of who we are is actually authentic versus how much is shaped by those expectations.
What would happen if we threw out those pre-written scripts altogether?
What if, instead of trying to force people into these rigid categories, we embrace the full spectrum of human experience?
Now that would be revolutionary.
Wouldn't it?
Imagine a world where individuality is celebrated, difference is embraced, and everyone feels empowered to just be themselves.
That's a world I think we can all strive for. And I think music like Healing from the Hurt can help us get there.
It's a reminder that even in the face of societal pressures, there's always the possibility of healing, growth, and authentic self-expression. Powerful stuff.
It is, and it makes you realize how much we can learn from listening to stories that are different from our own.
Every story has something unique to offer.
It does.
And when we open ourselves up to those diverse perspectives, we expand our understanding of ourselves, our communities, and the world around us.
And sometimes those stories come to us through art, like aethona's music.
Right.
It's a way of connecting on this deeper level beyond words.
It's like a universal language that speaks to the heart, even if the experiences being expressed are different from our own. Okay, so we've covered a lot here.
Yeah.
This whole concept of pathologization, the power of art, the importance of community, and those complexities of societal expectations.
I think the biggest takeaway is that healing, both individual and societal, is an ongoing process.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly.
And it's a journey filled with twists and turns.
Ups and downs.
Exactly.
There will be setbacks and breakthroughs, moments of despair and moments of joy.
It's true.
But through it all, there's always the possibility of growth, connection, and transformation.
And that's a message that resonates deeply with this whole idea of healing from the hurt.
It does.
And remember, this is just the beginning of our deep dive.
There's just so much more to unpack.
If you're ready to dive deeper, stick with us for part 2, where we'll really get into the lyrics of Healing from the Hurt and uncover even more insights into aethona's powerful journey of resilience and self-discovery.
It's going to be good.
Oh, it is. It is.
Welcome back, everybody.
All right, so we spent part 1 getting a feel for this idea of trans pathologization.
Yeah, how society sometimes views being transgender as a problem that needs fixing.
Exactly. And we touched on the power of art, like how aethona is using their music to process trauma and advocate for change.
But now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the song itself.
Okay, let's do it.
The lyrics.
The lyrics. I noticed even on my first listen, there's this feeling of being out of sync with the world.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That line, marching to the beat of a different drum, really jumped out at me.
It totally connects back to what we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
Those societal expectations.
Yeah.
And how they can feel so constricting.
Yeah, like you're trying to fit into a box that's just not made for you.
𝗧ona's lyrics are full of these powerful metaphors like that
Yeah.
that give you a glimpse into that internal struggle.
It's like they're describing this constant tension
Mm-hmm.
between who they are on the inside and how the world sees them.
Exactly.
And there's just this beautiful rawness to the lyrics, too.
Right. Like they're not holding anything back.
Yeah. 𝗧ona doesn't shy away from expressing the pain and frustration that comes with that whole experience.
There's another line that I thought was really powerful.
Oh, tell me.
It goes, "They tried to dim my light, but the fire inside burned brighter."
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
It's a declaration of resilience, like a refusal to be silenced.
It sends chills down my spine.
I know, right?
That's one of the things I really admire about aethonA's music.
What is that?
It's just so honest and vulnerable.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's full of defiance and hope.
They're acknowledging the hurt, but they're not letting it define them.
Yeah, and that's where the healing part of the song's title comes into play, right? It's not about erasing the hurt or pretending it didn't happen.
It's about rising above it.
But it's about finding a way to move forward.
Finding a way to move forward with strength.
Strength and grace.
And, the article made a good point about healing being a process, not an end goal.
Right, it's not like a destination you arrive at.
And 𝗧ona echoes that in the lyrics, even singing about dancing through the darkness.
Dancing through the darkness. I love that imagery.
Me too.
It just perfectly captures this idea that even when you're going through tough times,
Mm-hmm.
there's still a certain flow to it.
A rhythm.
Yeah.
A rhythm. Like you're not avoiding the darkness, but finding a way to move through it.
I like that.
And remember how the article mentioned 𝗧ona uses music as a form of activism.
Oh, yeah.
I think that comes through really clearly in these lyrics.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They're not just expressing their own experiences, but calling for change.
Mm-hmm. Challenging those societal norms.
Challenging those norms that caused the hurt in the first place.
It's interesting how 𝗧ona blends different musical styles in healing from the hurt.
I was thinking that too.
There's elements of soul, funk, even a bit of electronic music.
It's like a sonic tapestry that reflects the diversity of the trans community.
And it makes the song so much fun to listen to.
Right. Even though the lyrics are dealing with some pretty heavy stuff.
There's this energy to it that makes you just want to get up and dance.
That's another layer of the healing process, I think.
Tell me more.
It's not just about processing the pain,
Right.
but finding joy, too.
Celebrating resilience.
Embracing that full spectrum of human emotion.
So we've unpacked those lyrics, we've explored the musical style, and we've touched on those deeper themes 𝗧ona is weaving in.
We did it.
What stands out to you as like the most powerful takeaway from the song?
For me, it's the sense of hope in the lyrics.
Oh, yeah, I felt that too.
Even in the face of so much pain and discrimination, 𝗧ona's message is ultimately one of resilience.
Resilience, strength.
And a belief that things can and will get better.
It's a reminder that even when things feel dark, there's always this light within us.
Yes, a light that can guide us through.
And I think it's that light that 𝗧ona is sharing with the world.
It shines brighter when we come together, when we support each other, and when we fight for a world that is more just and compassionate.
So beautifully said. And it makes me think about how we can each tap into that inner light and, use it to make a difference in our own communities.
It doesn't have to be grand gestures.
No.
It can be simple acts of kindness, speaking up against injustice, or just listening with an open heart.
Every little bit of light we bring into the world helps push back against the darkness.
And sometimes that light comes to us in the form of music.
Music, art, a story.
Something that just touches our soul.
That reminds us of our shared humanity.
That's what makes this whole deep dive into healing from the hurt so powerful.
It's not just about one song or one artist.
It's about tapping into this collective energy of healing, resilience, and hope.
And that's a message we can all carry with us long after this deep dive is over.
Now that we've really explored the song,
Yeah.
let's shift gears a bit in this final part of the deep dive and think about some of the broader implications of 𝗧ona's work.
All right, so we've talked about trans pathologization. We felt that raw emotion in 𝗧ona's lyrics.
We even got philosophical, about the nature of healing.
We did. But now, what does it all mean for us, for the people listening right now?
That's the big question, isn't it? How do we take these big ideas about identity and societal change and actually apply them to our own lives?
Because it's one thing to just appreciate 𝗧ona's music,
Yeah.
but it's another to actually go out and create positive change. Where do we even begin?
Well, the article ends with this call for continuous dialogue, which might sound a little vague,
Yeah, a little bit.
But I think it's actually a good place to start.
Okay, break that down for me. What does continuous dialogue actually look like in practice?
It's about being willing to have those conversations that might be a little uncomfortable,
Okay.
to listen to perspectives that are different from our own.
It's not about having all the answers right.
Right.
It's more about being open to the process of discovery.
Exactly.
I like that.
And it starts with being mindful of the language we use.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Are we using terms that are inclusive and respectful? Are we perpetuating stereotypes even unintentionally?
It's amazing how much power our words actually have.
Yeah.
Sometimes even just a small comment can have a huge impact on someone else's experience.
Absolutely. And it's not just about what we say.
Right.
It's also about how we listen.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Are we truly hearing the experiences of others, or are we just waiting for our turn to speak?
Deep listening, it's a skill.
It is.
I think we could all probably work on that a little bit more,
Awesome.
putting aside our own biases,
Yeah.
judgments, and really trying to understand where someone else is coming from.
And sometimes that means like sitting with discomfort.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Learning about experiences that are different from our own can be unsettling.
Totally.
Challenges our worldview.
It's like stretching a muscle you haven't used in a while.
Oh, I like that.
It might be a little awkward at first,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately it makes us stronger and more flexible.
Growth often happens outside of our comfort zones.
I love that. So continuous dialogue involves being mindful of our language,
Yes.
practicing deep listening.
Embracing discomfort.
Okay, what else can we do to turn these ideas into action?
Well, the article also talks about the importance of education.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Taking the time to learn about issues that affect marginalized communities.
Because knowledge is power, right?
Exactly.
The more we understand about different experiences, the better equipped we are to advocate for change.
And education can take so many forms.
Yeah, for sure.
Reading books, watching documentaries.
Having conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's important to approach these learning opportunities with a sense of humility.
Humility for sure.
We're not always going to get everything right.
Oh, absolutely not.
But the key is to be open to feedback,
Mm-hmm.
to learn from those mistakes.
And to just keep striving to do better.
Okay, so continuous dialogue, ongoing education.
Mm-hmm.
What about allyship?
Ah, yes. Allyship.
What does it mean to be a true ally to the trans community or to any marginalized community?
It's not just about saying the right words.
Right?
It's about taking action.
Taking action, using your privilege
Exactly.
to amplify marginalized voices.
To challenge discrimination.
So it's about stepping up and speaking out, even when it's uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And being consistent in our efforts.
Allyship isn't a one-time thing.
Right.
It's an ongoing commitment
Yes.
to standing up for what's right.
And recognizing that we're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Yeah. We can't create a better world if we're only focused on our own individual experiences.
Which brings us back to the message of healing from the hurt.
Full circle.
Healing is not just an individual process.
It's collective.
When we support each other,
Yeah.
when we lift each other up, when we work together to create positive change.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's one final thought-provoking nugget that we can leave our listeners with? Something to inspire them to take action.
What if we just challenge our listeners to do one thing, one small thing, to put these ideas into practice?
It could be anything.
It could be anything.
Like having a conversation with a friend about gender identity.
Donating to an organization.
Or just committing to educating themselves more about these issues.
It doesn't have to be huge.
Small actions, ripple effect.
If each of us commits to doing our part,
Yeah.
we can create a world that is more inclusive and just.
And that is a world worth fighting for.
It is.
All right, so that wraps up our deep dive into healing from the hurt.
We did it.
We covered a lot today, unpacking complex concepts, exploring the power of music and allyship,
And hopefully we've given you some food for thought.
some concrete ways to take action.
The conversation doesn't end here, though.
Keep listening, keep learning,
And keep challenging yourselves.
to create a world where everyone feels safe.
Empowered to be their true selves.
And if you're ready to experience the magic of healing from the hurt for yourself, check out the song and the article. We'll have links in the show notes.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.